to see Miriam. Okay. So today's topic is about how to get ahead within 6 to 12 months of 99% of people. Okay. I think it was last week or maybe the week before, I spoke about a book called The Strangest Secret by Elle Nightingale. Did anyone, I know Colin is on the call, he's driving. He read the book and gave his feedback. Did anybody else read the book? The Strangest Secret. Peter did. Okay, Peter, what did you take away? What was one thing you took away from that book? Okay. Either put it in the chat or unmute yourself, Peter. Did anyone else read the book?
What's the name of it?
The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Okay. Okay, so it was just Peter and Colin that have read this book. Okay, so you see, this is something that I want to be transparent about. When you're giving information like what books to read, Peter says stay focused. Okay. I started to listen to the audio. But if you're given information of books to read from someone that is having more success than you, I highly recommend go and get that information. Okay. You see, this is the way I look at information. And so I would see someone like Mr. Bugs, and many people want his results. But the results he has is based on the mind that he has. Okay. And the mind he has is built up of many different audio books and books that he's read and information that he's applied. So in order to get the results, you need the information that he's used to get those results. So anytime he's recommended a book, or someone that is making more money than me recommends a book, I get it and I read it as fast as possible and update my software. Okay. Everyone understand what I mean by updating the software. Okay. And so it's going to make sense to you why I'm speaking about this on this call, because I've got many notes based on what I want to share today. And it's so apparent to me. Many of you have done three-way calls with over the past week or two. Let me make sure everybody's muted. I've done three-way calls with over the last week or two. And if you're someone that has done a three-way call, maybe not with me, but with one of the leaders that are on the call, I want to ask you this question. Have you noticed that majority of people, when you ask them, well, tell me, how much money do you want to make from this? They have no idea. They don't know how much money they want to make. They don't have a definite number. This is the amount of money I want to make within 90 days. This is the amount that I want in 6 months, within 1 year. Anybody notice that most people don't know? They don't have a goal. Okay. This is yes, this is no. So I want you to share with me. Either put it in the chat or unmute yourself. Is this something that you have noticed?
I believe the question kind of surprised them. That
Okay.
they maybe didn't think about it before.
Yeah.
And also if it is like someone who is an entrepreneur and they're working hard to achieve whatever they want to achieve, They
Mm-hmm.
may not be comfortable to give a big figure.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? And
Yeah.
then they'll tell you, well, I don't know, I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. So, and I'm glad you touched on that, Gloria, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a big figure. Okay. Could be any figure. But how can you end up in a destination if you don't know where you're going? Okay. This is something I want to share with you because unfortunately, most people are sleeping but awake. Okay. They have no direction that they're going. And this is why I spoke about the book, The Stranger's Secret. Because what it says, they give you an example of 100 people. And I still recommend go and read the book, even when I tell you the example. Okay.
I will.
100 people. They all went to the same school, got the same education. Okay. Very similar results in terms of education. But there was only 5 of them that set out goals to achieve after education. Okay. Within 10 years, those 5 people were earning 10 times the amount of the other 95 people. It wasn't because they're more special, those 5 people. They just knew where they were going. They had a direction to go in. Okay. And so the thing is that we are built as humans, our mind is built to achieve goals. Our mind is a goal striving mechanism. The issue is most people have just been given goals by society. The goals that we all know: go to school, get good education, get a good job. Okay. But part of that goal is not, it's not what type of lifestyle do you want to live? Which is why when I come on a three-way call or I speak to a prospect and I say, okay, well, you've seen the opportunity. Tell me how much income would you like to earn on a monthly basis? They've never been asked that question before because their goals have been given to them by society. Now, if you're a leader or you want to be a leader, this is why you have to learn how to ask questions. Okay. And so I want to make sure that I touch on everything here that I've written down, because once you give your once you really take time to write out your goals, think about your goals, write it out. Guess what happens now? Your mind now goes into the GPS system and is looking for ways to achieve that goal. You're not on this call by accident. You didn't join the business by accident. You were already looking for a way to achieve a goal that you had written down, thought about, or maybe pictured. You have some type of picture that you put up. This is why I always say you cannot find what you're not looking for. Your brain is not going to find something that you haven't given it instructions to look for. Okay. Now, if you don't know what you want, you will be told what to believe, what to want in life. Which is why you're ahead of 80% of people just by writing down your goals of what you want out of life? Just by writing it down and putting pictures up. You're already ahead because you're now giving your mind a destination to go to. Now, subconsciously, what will happen is your mind will start to notice things, places, people that can get you to that destination or that goal you want to achieve. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have children and your child wants to uh learn how to play tennis. Okay. Do you think it's more or less likely that if someone mentions that they're a tennis coach, that you're going to pay attention? Your mind is now alert and receives that information. They could say the same thing, but if you don't have a goal that or your child doesn't have a goal of playing tennis, that information just goes past you and you don't receive that information. Your brain is not alert to receiving that. That's why having a goal, having goals is going to put you ahead of most people. No, it's not just the goals alone, but having goals is going to give you a head start. Okay. Is this making sense so far, what I'm sharing with you?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna flip my pages. So the next point I wanted to touch on is goals will determine how you interpret situations. Okay. And what do I mean by that is you can have the same situation, but depending on the goal that you have, you're going to have a different perception of that situation. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have a goal of somebody tell me their goal, income goal they have. Put it in the chat or unmute yourself.
To be able to be very effective with my trading buddy.
Okay. Okay, so Gloria, you need to pay attention because I said income goal. Okay. Okay, Rex
Well,
says 9,000 US a month. Marketa says 4,000 US a month. Peter says 10K a month. Alexandra says 100K a month. Okay. Now let me just give you an example of what I mean. If you have, I'm going to use the smallest number. Okay, so 4,000 a month. Let's say, Marketa, you risk on an investment or you're trading, you lose $40. Okay. It's not going to affect you because you already have a goal of earning 4,000 a month. So that $40 doesn't mean a lot to you. Okay. But it also means that if your goal is to earn 4,000 a month, you're not prepared to lose 4,000 in a month. Whereas the biggest number I can see on there, Alexandra, with 100,000, Alexandra knows the person that earns 100,000 a month is not bothered by losing 4,000 in 1 month. So the perception of the same result is going to be very different based on the goal. I hope that makes sense. which is why you can have the same challenge, but different perceptions of how people respond to that challenge based on that person's goals. And I'm not saying your goal is good or bad. The goal the goal is your goal. Got nothing to do with me. It's all about you. But I'm just sharing with you the truth of how you will see things based on your goals. I'm willing to put myself through more challenges, more pressure, more responsibility because of my goals. So I'm willing to put myself in situations that maybe not everybody's willing to put themselves in. Same with Alexandra. She's willing to put herself in situations that maybe not everybody's willing to put themselves in, depending on their goal. Okay. Now, I'm sharing this with you so you kind of have an understanding of the perception, how perception can change. But let me just make sure I touch on all of this. Is and I've shared this before. Okay. When you have a goal, you're able to course correct. What do I mean by that? Well, like I said, when a rocket lifts off, it it has the destination, but it's course correcting the whole way, let's say to the moon. It's not just one straight line. No, it's course correcting and navigating and moving slightly, 1 inch to the left, 1 inch to the right, along that way. When you have a goal, that's what happens. You start to course correct. You realize, okay, well, maybe this didn't work for me this time for my personality, but I know what my goal is, so I'm going to do this slightly differently. Okay. And what do I mean by that? I knew what my goal was when I started out in this industry, and I saw people on stage earning 30, 40, 50,000 a month that were younger than me in Organo. Organo Gold, the coffee company that Holton Bugs was. Okay. So I already knew what my goal was when I started out. And that goal got bigger. But I didn't achieve that goal in Organo. And I went into the corporate world, working in corporate, but my goal hadn't changed. But I knew I wasn't able to earn that type of income in corporate in London, in the UK. So when this opportunity come with Mr. Bugs, I knew I had to course correct. But if your goal, let's say, is to earn 3, 4,000 a month, you can do that in the corporate world. So you don't need to course correct. You don't need to have much of a change. Do you see where I'm going with this? Your goals will determine what decisions you make. I knew I wasn't happy because I knew there was no possibility of me achieving my goal on what I was doing before. And yes, Peter, think big, but I want you to understand. I want you to put yourself in a situation. And so this is what I want you to do going forward. And this is what something I had to learn to do is think like the person that has achieved that goal already. because you don't, the reason why you haven't earned that income or achieved that goal is because you are not the person that can achieve that goal yet. But let me go back to the chat. Um, okay, Peter, you said 10K a month is your goal. Okay. And I'm gonna use Peter as an example. But Peter, I remember you said in one of the calls about TradeBuddy being $300 a month. Let me ask you this question. Does a person that is earning 10,000 a month question paying $300 a month? I want that's the honest. I want you to really understand what I'm saying to you. Okay, this is the reality. How many people do you know that when you eventually when you ask them and now they're having to think about how much they want to earn from the business before they've started, okay? And they say, "Oh, I want to earn, I don't know, 5 grand a month, 10 grand a month." How many people have said that to you, Alexandra? I know you don't have to unmute because I know I'm gonna save your voice. But if you put it in the chat, right, and you say, "Oh, my goal is to reset and earn 9,300 a month," yeah. But when you say to them, okay, well, you have to make an investment to get started, they say, oh, I can't spend I have to spend $300 or $500. I have to invest that into myself. Yeah, it's the employee thinking. They're happy to invest their time, but not their money.
So the money are has the same priority as the time, because if we invest just the time for our business and not the money, so we can probably not try our goals because it's not enough. Yeah, because if I open the, I don't know, new cafeteria, so
Mhm.
I need first the money, not just my time, but I need from the bank or for someone else, because I cannot open my cafeteria without money. Yeah. It's basic.
100%, Miriam. Okay. And yeah, and for me, and Alexandra gets it, and this is why she's a leader, is because the time is more important than money. I will always pay for someone's knowledge that has taken their time. If it's taken them, let's say, 15 years to learn how to master property, for example, and they said what they've was taking them 15 years to learn, I can learn that in, let's say, 6 months through paying them for the information. Do you think that's a good investment to get back 14 and a half years? Okay. And that's most people don't think that way because most people want something for nothing. They want 5 grand a month, 10 grand a month, 15. They want 100 grand a month. They want to be a millionaire. But the in order to be a millionaire or to earn that 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand a month, you have to think like that person already. You have to act like that person already. You don't get to that income and then you start acting like that person. And so this is where I want you to have that switch and ask yourself, if you're earning X amount, whatever your goal is, what would your lifestyle look like? What decisions would you make that would be different than what your decisions you're making right now? You see, and this is one of the biggest things that I wrote down. The bad habits that you have, I've had, still have some. You only change those habits if their goal isn't important enough to you. If the goal is not important enough to you, you don't change the bad habits. Okay. I'll give you an example. Someone that has, they have a health challenge. And doctor says
What type of challenge?
health.
Health. Okay.
Say health challenge.
Regional.
Okay. Say if they have a health challenge, they have a heart attack. Doctor says it's because of maybe you're overweight or you've been you have high cholesterol. Arteries are clogged up. Maybe before you knew that it's a bad idea to eat certain food. You know it's a good idea to exercise, a bad habit that you're not. But now that goal becomes important because you have a heart attack and now it's a life or death situation. Now your habit is easier to change because now it's important to you. Now it's easier to get rid of that bad habit. So I can already see if the goal, what you told me or you told yourself is important to you, because I will see by the habits that you change. You see, I've said before on the last call that some of my bad habits is that I didn't read. I never read books. Be honest, how many of you didn't read until you got invited to this environment of, whether it be network marketing or boomerang person? How many of you didn't read, didn't see the importance of it? Marketa, I like that you're being honest. Stefan says me.
I read the books, but not this type of books.
Correct. All right, Miriam.
Not books about the habits, about the mindset, so psychology, and so.
Yeah. You see, and this is the thing. I said to myself, I want to become a master trader. It wasn't until I started trading that I really focused on psychology, my own psychology, and my habits, my discipline. It wasn't until I realized how much that was affecting my trading and how important the goal is for me trading wise, that I was able to change those habits. That's why if the goal is important, it makes it easier to change the bad habits. But everything that you do is based on your identity. Okay. You see, the hardest thing for most people is getting new information that they've never heard before. And the older you are, the harder it is to change. The reason being is because now you feel like your identity is being threatened. You feel like you're being attacked. Okay. Let me give you an example. Let's say there is a bodybuilder and they're in an environment where they're not able to work out, they're not able to eat healthy. They feel like they're being attacked. Their identity is being threatened. people find it difficult to change because they feel like they're losing their identity. Okay. But the mind is a combination of systems that's going to allow you to get to your goal. You see, you have a system. There is a system in your mind of what to do the first that when you open your eyes in the morning. There is already a system, automatic. You don't even think about it. It's just automatic. This is what I do. I do this, I do that, I do that, I do that, I do that. You don't even think about it. There's a system that is already programmed into your mind. Okay. And that system and the identity is going to accept and reject information based on the goal that you have. It's going to accept information and reject information based on your goal. I want you to understand what I mean by this. If you are someone that says you want to become a master trader, your brain automatically only accepts information that is going to make you a master trader. It's going to reject everything else. Once I decided that I'm going to be a master trader, okay, my brain now rejects anybody that tells me that trading doesn't work. It just doesn't affect my belief system because my identity is master trader. And so your brain is naturally, so if you're reading information, this is why you have selective hearing, selective seeing. You understand? You've got selective hearing. Everybody heard that term before? It's because of your goal of who you are, of your identity. You're only going to hear and accept the thing that fits the identity of who you are. It's going to reject everything else, and that is that reticular activating system working. It's not only taking in information that is helping you to get to your goal. Let me give you an example. You're driving somewhere you've never been before. You only see the signs that are taking you towards the destination you're going. You don't see any other sign. You see the sign that is taking you towards that destination. If I asked you what other places were on that same bill, you wouldn't be able to tell me. Because that is our brain. Our brain is always filtering information. And so what happens is, based on your identity, some people's identity, and you see this, is to naturally be victim. They look for ways to be a victim. Circumstances that mean they're a victim. There are other people that are only looking for ways that they can be a winner. It could be the same exact circumstance, but based on your identity, And I see it in the Telegram chat. What I was looking at the Telegram chat earlier, and I was like, some people are complaining about TradeBuddy. Some people are just grateful. They understand that there's a teething period with learning how to do something new. And they're just saying it's part of the process. Because there's one person that is focusing on the problems, the other person is focusing on the gratitude opportunity. Because of their identity of always, one person that's focused on the problem is just their identity is always that I am the victim in everything that happens. Okay. The other person is just focusing on, I am grateful just for everything that happens because it's happening to make me a better person. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Okay. Now it's down to you to decide what type of person you're going to be. You know where you are right now, but it's down to you to decide where you're going to go. And I've got some pointers here to I really want you to touch on these things of how to actually get ahead. These are some of the things that I've done, some of the things that have been taught to me. The number one thing is to self-educate. Self-educate. Meaning, what books are you reading? Are you just limiting yourself to learning from Elevate? Or are there other videos you can watch around trading? I'm just keeping it real with you guys. I've paid for courses outside of Elevate to learn trading. Elevate is my main template of where I get my education, but I don't limit myself to that. At the beginning of every month, I look for new books I can read or listen to make myself better. Because I ask myself, but not only myself, I also ask the people that are already doing this, is the person that is earning, let's say 100,000 a month, what do they read? I asked that same person, when you were earning, let's say 10,000 a month, what were you reading? What were you thinking about between the time of earning 10,000 to getting to 100,000? What changed for you? What did you do to change that trajectory of earning 10,000 to go to 100,000? Because as I said, if you haven't achieved that goal yet, it's because you're not the person that can achieve that goal yet. There is something missing. You have to continuously expand your mind. And there's a saying that once you expand your mind can't go back to where it was before. You can't unsee what you've seen. Once you know better, you will do better. It's up to you to do better once you know better. Okay. The second thing is to create a vision for your life. I know I spoke to Alexandra many times about this, but I'm gonna say somebody else that has put it in the chat. Rhett. So Rhett said 9,000 a month. Do you know what the person that earns 9,000 a month is doing? What's their day look like on a daily basis? What's their relationship like with their family and friends? Where do they travel? What type of house do they live in? What type of lifestyle do they have? Do you know that information? Do you have those pictures up? Do you know what that feels like? What it sounds like? I've said this time and time again, and I hopefully at some point, if you haven't got it yet, I hope today's the day you're gonna get it. It may not happen straight away, but your nervous system is connected to your imagination. Your nervous system does not know what is real from what is fake, which is why you can be sleeping, have a nightmare, wake up, and you're sweating, your heart is racing faster. Because your nervous system is seeing your mind's eye when you're sleeping. Your mind's eye. You understand what I mean by your mind's eye? Not your physical eye, your mind's eye. So if you are able to tap into that and you understand, okay, well, if I can tell my nervous system a different story, I can create a new identity that my nervous system doesn't know what is real, what is fake. So if I want to be more confident, I have to picture myself as a confident person. If I'm someone that's earning 100,000 a month, I have to picture myself as the person that is earning 100,000 a month. But continuously picture that. You know, I was somebody that was, like I said, I was against meditation. I didn't see the purpose of it. But I know the person that is earning, I watched someone called Stormy Wellington. She's the #1 female earner in the industry of network marketing. And the thing that she would do, you go on her social media, every day she's doing a meditation. She's doing meditation. And sometimes she's doing meditation calls. So I said, if she is earning over $1 million a month, she meditates. That means that the person, Stormy Wellington, the person that is meditating is the person that earns over 100,000 a month. If you don't think meditation is important, it's because you don't want to earn over 100,000 a month. That's not your goal. If you don't have a goal to become a millionaire, you're not going to read Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. You're not going to read T. Harv Eker's books. You're not going to research you're not going to look into what are the habits that these people have. What time are they waking up in the morning? What are they reading? What's their lifestyle like? What do they do with challenges? When they had this challenge, how did they respond to that challenge? You see what I mean by your goal determines how you act and how you behave? Like I said, I still have no interest on being the best speaker in the world. But who I was, and I set out the goal, I saw those people speaking on stage, and I said, well, they're the ones that are earning 30, 40, 50,000 a month. So I don't want to speak. But if I have a goal to earn that income, I've got to learn how to speak in public and how to communicate. You know, my goal for last year, my main goal was to become a better communicator. Because people think in pictures. if you can use words to create a picture in someone's mind. I only thought about that. I only noticed that on the audiobook I was listening to from Jim Rohn. You know why my mind only noticed only noticed that? Because my mind is, I need to have a bigger organization. I need to learn how to lead more people. Because my goal was that, that's what I noticed in the audiobook. You are only going to notice things that are in correlation with your goal, that are in alignment with the goal that you have. Which is why you read certain books, we'll read the same book, and certain things will stand out to you that won't stand out to me. And then certain things will stand out to me that won't stand out to you, because your brain is only focused on what your goal is. Okay. But that's why you got to create a vision. You have to learn techniques. Techniques is another way of saying learn skills that are going to get you to your goal. Again, I'm going to be honest, I had no interest in learning trading. 5 years ago, no interest in learning trading. Anybody else can relate with me that didn't just didn't. Alexandra, I knew she was smiling. I knew she could because she was smiling, right? I had no interest. Once I saw the type of money that was being made with trading, that's when I became interested, because that aligns with the goal that I have. So what happens? I have to learn the technique, the skill set of trading, because it aligns with the goal. Colin said the same. He said the same thing. No interest, but he's got goals. He knows that trading is a vehicle that can get him to that goal. Same as me, same as Alexandra, same as most of you that joined and are learning through Elevate. Okay. So there's different skills depending on what your goal is. If your goal is just to learn how to trade and make money from trading, then fine. Sorry, if your goal is just to earn active income of 5, 10, 15,000 a month, should I say? Then yeah, trading is going to be enough to potentially get you to that goal. If your goal is to earn that same income but in passive income, residual income, then now what happens is you realize you have to learn different skills that will allow you to build an organization. Okay. There's a difference. With trading, there is no residual passive income with trading. Still active. You want residual income? Then there's skills you have to learn how to build a business, learn how to invite, learn how to follow up, learn how to close, learn how to do three-way calls, learn how to lead, learn how to deal with different challenges, learn how to deal with different people with different personality types. But your goal will determine the skills that you learn. Okay. I can tell you, it was just yesterday I was talking to Kathleen. I said, Kathleen, you need to develop more leaders. So I gave her the book, Developing Leaders Around You, because I know what her goal is. I know there's skills, techniques that she has to learn. And Kathleen, she's fine. We have a great relationship. She won't mind me saying this. Okay. And I'm saying this on this call because and I can see some of her team members on this call. But I've been telling Kathleen, you're in the way of other people that want to become leaders. You do too much because of her identity of being the person that helps a lot. Said the same thing to Alexandra. We had a conversation earlier. My voice is not here, so I can't translate. Well, Alexandra, you shouldn't be translating anymore. There's many people in your team that can speak English and Slovak. Okay. And I can tell you this year, it's not going to just be me doing mindset calls. There's going to be other leaders on this call that will be doing the mindset calls. Because my purpose is to develop more leaders, not just to be, my goal has never been to just be a speaker. Okay. And then the last 3 points, and then we'll wrap this up. But I hope this is making sense to you so far. You have to become comfortable with reinventing yourself. I can tell you, I'm going to say it again. You have to become comfortable with reinventing yourself. Yeah, lots of sense that lead to more dollars. Yeah, it will. And I'm going to give you some pointers. Follow people that align with your goals, that align with where you're going. I've had to distance myself from certain relationships and take myself closer to other relationships that are in line with where I'm going. I had to reinvent myself of someone that is constantly working out. And it's not just me doing it because it's a new goal. No, this is a lifestyle. Because when you're wealthy and you have wealth, you now focus on your health. Okay. So you have to be, I want you to understand, you have to change the way you actually are. You have to change what you wear. You have to change the environments that you put yourself in, where you shop. You have to change what you're seeing on a daily basis. You have to be willing to reinvent yourself. To go shopping, right? Yeah. No, but you have to be comfortable with it. I'll tell you, for me, I would go to, if you've been to London, I would go to, or you may have heard of Harrods or Selfridges. Before I could afford to shop there, I used to go there and try things on that I couldn't afford yet. I knew what it felt like to have a £3,000 Fendi jacket. And I could experience it. My body remembers that experience. I had to change my mind of how I see myself. You see, because everybody operates based on a standard that they have for themselves. Everybody operates on a standard they have for themselves. I have a different standard for myself now. So I had to reinvent. You see, and so this is what happens. Most people, they don't want to go and do that. They feel uncomfortable going to a place where a place that they can't afford financially because they're so focused on what is in their bank account that they don't understand how their mind works. If you can build it in your mind and you can write it on paper, you can have it. It's not what your bank account says. Your bank account is only based on your physical eye. When you do enough of the mind-eye work on working on your nervous system, you won't be looking at what your bank account is. Some of you look at your back office and what the volume you see is where you see yourself. Let me say this again. Some of you have lied to yourself so many times by looking at your back office. If you're building a business, you look at the back office and that is where you see yourself based on those numbers. Some of the biggest challenges for some of you to get to a new rank is because you focus on what you see in the back office, not your plan, not what you've pictured in your mind, what you've drawn out on paper. You're focusing on the current present results, not where you're going. I don't like to look at my back office because what's more important to me is my flight plan calendar, looking at my legs of business, how many more legs I need, how many sapphires and above to create, which is 30 for Blue Diamond. That's my picture of what I focus on, not what is currently the volume in the back office. I hope you understand this because that's the hardest part of reinventing yourself is not focusing on what you see in front of you. Put yourself in different environments, give yourself new experiences, expand your mind. If you have an opportunity to be, my friend she's a fashion stylist. She had a chance to go to Nigeria and there was a Nigerian billionaire that she's now styling as a new client of hers. And she told me his guest house was the size of one of her other clients' main house. His guest house, he stays there maybe 2 weeks out of the year. When I had a conversation, she said, I don't even want any more multi-millionaire clients anymore. I don't want any more. No. My mind has been expanded. I've seen more. Now if you understand, when you've seen more, you can actually be more. When you limit yourself to just what is around you, you can't be more than your environment. That's why you have to reinvent yourself. Okay. And this is a big one for me. And we're going to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes. This is a big one for me. I give you permission to make more mistakes. You go through education, you go through school, your parents will tell you off. If you like, my parents will tell you off for making mistakes. My parents would always put so much fear into me about taking risks because they're worried about me failing. They were worried about me failing. I had lunch with a friend yesterday, and she was saying that her dad, she's a coach, NLP coach, and she was saying her dad was saying to her, you know, says to her every now and again, well, you've got this really good job that you could take for 60,000 a year. And she's like, but that's not, my goal isn't to earn 60,000 a year. It's to earn 60,000 a month. But he's so worried about me making mistakes that he's trying to project his fear onto me because he's scared of making that mistake. The more, let me share this with you, the more mistakes you make, the more money you make. I'm going to give you a whole new perception on mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more money you make. Just don't make the same mistake. I'm not perfect. I just have the perfect information from an imperfect person. Because this information didn't come from me. It came from the books that I've read, the people I've surrounded myself with, the leadership that I've been around. And I was so fearful. I would call up David and say, David, I'm thinking of doing this call. What do you think? He said, why are you calling me about that? Just do it. I was so scared of making that mistake. Of what if I do it wrong? That's because in the back of my mind, I just had those people that were saying, well, I told you so. I told you not to do that. And so you start to live in a mental prison. I'll be the first to say I was in a mental prison. So scared of making mistakes, of failing forward. Make the mistakes. And so there was something I heard and it stuck with me. Like I said, because of my goal. Because I wanted to get over the fear of making mistakes, the fear of procrastinating. Okay. And it said action creates information. Action creates information. When you do something, you either realize that's the way to do it, or you realize that's not the way to do it. Actually, I need to adjust slightly. But you can't get that information, which is self-discovery about yourself, without taking the action, without making that mistake. I didn't know how bad of a speaker I was until I first spoke. I first did my first meeting. I didn't know how bad I was. I didn't know how much information I lacked in my mind until I took the action. And it gave me more information about myself. Okay, you don't know enough. You want people to follow you? You need to go and learn. You need to go and read. You need to go and saturate your mind with new information. Okay. So I'm telling you, go and make the mistakes. I remember the story, Alexandra, right? Begging you not to do it ever again. Imagine that. Someone like Alexandra, if you heard Alexandra speak, you know how eloquently she speaks. But the first time she spoke, they asked her never to do it again. It's funny now, but she had to take that action. You see, there's something about successful people that is there's an inside competitiveness that comes out. See, when I took that action of being a horrible speaker, I said, there's, I'm not going to use the words I was thinking, right? But I wouldn't allow myself to be bad at it. There's a competitiveness about me. I won't allow myself to be bad at this. I will keep doing it until I'm good. If it's important enough to me, I won't allow myself to be bad at it. And that's what leads me to my last point, which is probably the most important. Is experimentation, sorry. Self-experimentation. I used it to my advantage, saying if they don't want me to speak, they need to become leaders. So they did. Yeah, exactly, right? And that's just the person that has the perspective of being a winner, not a victim saying, "Oh, I'm never going to do this again." With every obstacle, there's opportunity. Right? With every obstacle, there's opportunity. But self-experimentation, I'm going to give you an example with trading. When you first come into trading, you see all the different styles of trading. You start trading and you realize, okay, maybe that doesn't work for me. Maybe that doesn't work for me. And then eventually you get to a point where you have a system, you realize this is actually what works for me. You will get to that point, but you have to experiment to learn about yourself. This whole journey is about self-discovery. When you can understand yourself and you have goals, to understand, okay, if I want to achieve that goal, this is who I am right now. I need to adjust and reinvent that part of my life. I'm naturally quite lazy. So when is the time in the day that I feel the most energy, most productive? That's the time where I'm going to make most of my calls. Let me ask you a question. Do you know when in the day is the time that you're most productive? Do you know about that? Do you know that about yourself? Okay, Alexandra knows. I'm not surprised she knows. Do you know that about yourself? When it comes to working out, I get the best workouts between 11 and 12:30. I worked out in the morning. I did the 5 a.m. workouts for 1 year just because I wanted to change the habit and reinvent myself. This is in 2020. But I realized that my workout, my body wasn't responding to that working out at that time. You have to learn about yourself. You have to know who you are. And not just who you are, you have to learn how to develop the person you are. You have to reinvent yourself. If you don't have the goal that you want already, it's because you're not the person that can achieve that goal yet. So there is a process of course correction. What is going to happen is this is what's going to naturally happen. Once you set that goal, your mind is either going to give you negative feedback or positive feedback based on your goal. You know, I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel myself if I'm not working out, if I haven't read, because that's negative feedback to my goal. Why do I feel good when I've worked out and when I've read? Because that's positive feedback to my goal. You have to give your mind positive feedback. If you feel shitty, it's because you've been giving your mind negative feedback. You've been doing things that are going against your identity of the goal that you want to achieve. I don't feel good unless I'm working. I'm, I'm, I'm telling you, I'll be honest, I don't feel good unless I'm working. I feel like I am wasting time. And that's okay, right? But that's my personality. I have to be doing something. If I'm not on a presentation, I'm not doing a three-way call, I'm not looking at the charts. If I'm not trading, I have to be reading. I have to be educating myself because time we can't get back. We cannot get back the time. Money you can always get back. I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you this as we end. Money can always come back. Time can't. So it doesn't matter. If you lost 5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand, that money, if you keep developing yourself, that will become your weekly income at some point. You'll laugh at it 2, 3 years down the line if you understand where you're going and you focus on the right things. You focus on positive feedback rather than negative feedback. Time you can't get back. Money you can always get back. If you wake up tomorrow, that's worth more than any money that anybody can ever give you. Because tomorrow you have another chance, you have another choice. You have the opportunity. I remember speaking to a lady that she was actually a therapist, right? And she told me that she didn't have a great relationship with her son after her and her husband split up. And she was really upset about it, crying on the phone to me. And I remember saying to her, you still got a chance. You're still here. You're still alive. Do something about it. Don't just sit back and say, that's the end of our relationship. You're still alive, so you still have time to do something about it. Don't go to your deathbed knowing that you didn't even try. That's why time is more important than money. But what you do with your time will determine where you end up in the next 6 to 12 months. I can't force you to do that. Only you and your goal will force you to do that. If you don't feel bad about not developing yourself or not doing something to develop yourself daily, then the goal is not important to you. I'll just be honest, it's not. Whatever your goal is, whether it's trading, business, investment, it just is not important to you. You want to make it more important to you? Put up pictures, visualize it daily. Close your eyes, even if it's for 5 to 10 minutes in the morning. This is what I do. I actually do 20 minutes meditation. There's an abundance meditation that I do by Bob Proctor. 20 minutes every day. Every morning. This is how I start my day. I've closed my eyes. I'm picturing everything that I want to do in my life, where I live, the feeling, how the faces on the people that are around me because of what I can do for them. I love what Alexandra says. She writes 100 things she's grateful for. She's thankful for. And then guess what happens? And then during this meditation, he speaks about having this tunnel, like this tube that's going from my forehead to the universe. And there's this lavender that is coming through that tube from the universe. And that lavender has abundance. And you know, when I got my eyes closed, I can smell the lavender. And he talks about it going through my mind, going through the back of my head, going through my nose, my lips, my mouth, it moving around my body. And you know, I can feel something moving around my body when my eyes are closed. Do you know I can feel it renewing my body by my eyes being shut? I will share the link with you, Alexandra. And he talks about abundance just flowing through my body. And I can literally feel it. If you've done meditation before, you can feel it going through your body. It's like electricity. It's like you can feel electricity moving through your body. Guess what? You're renewing your cells. This is how I'm sharing this with you, because this is how powerful your mind is. You don't know until you do it. Somebody, I was sharing it with David, and David said, well, how do you feel? I said, well, I feel this power, but calmness. I feel this powerful calmness. And I started doing this before I did the first a presentation for corporate. And the message that T. Gray sent me afterwards and this about this poise and blah, I'm like, I felt that power before he said it to me. I knew that was coming. Because I'm reinventing myself. Okay? This is what I want you to do. If you can change the way you see yourself, the way you see the world will change. The actions you take will change. The standards you have for yourself will change. You won't allow certain people to speak to you a certain way. You'll have more respect for yourself. You know the amount of respect I have for myself? I'm like, Rowan, you're the one that's reading all these books. You're the one that is disciplined enough to go to the gym all the time, 5 days a week, 5 to 6 days a week. You're the one that's disciplined enough to read, to do the cardio when you don't want to do it. I want you to respect yourself more. How do you do that? Do the things you say you're going to do. That's going to change everything for you. You say you're going to reinvent yourself. You say you're going to do X amount of calls. You're going to put X amount of money into a trading account, and you're going to grow it to 10,000 a month income, whatever it may be. But just do it. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make along the way. Nobody cares. The bank is not going to say to you, well, it's taken you 2 years to get to 10,000 a month. They're not going to penalize you. Okay. I'm just going to read what Alexandra says, and we'll wrap this up. Aaron Doty, look him up for reinventing. 100%. Indian Saint says, if you say truth always, e.g., you do what you say, it comes to a point your word will create any type of reality. I absolutely love that. You will create your reality.
I think it deserves repeating what Alexandra wrote.
Okay. One more time. Indian Saint says, if you say truth always, example, you do what you say, it comes to a point your word will create any type of reality. It will. If you follow certain books, they say life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yep.
You listen to Hung by the Tongue, or you read Hung by the Tongue, you understand how powerful your words are. Okay. Yeah. Even little lies, it becomes big lies. It becomes their life. Yeah. Awesome. Hope you have taken something away from this mindset call. The best thing you can do for yourself is set a goal, set multiple goals, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, and start to work towards those objectives. Okay. Love you guys, and I will
Thank
see
you.
you on the call tomorrow. I don't know if I'll see you on the trading call tomorrow with Mr. Hunt. And we'll have more presentations, more calls going on this week for TradeBuddy, and all sorts of things are going to happen this week. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.